Today we are here with Small Business Stories and Chuck Jensen from Pelican Rapids, Minnesota, who is the franchise owner of the Dairy Queen in Pelican Rapids. So welcome, Chuck, and thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yes. So tell us a little bit, Chuck, how did you get into the Dairy Queen franchise business? What was your background? Did you have a business degree? How did you get there?
No, I did not have a business degree. I had a friend who owned a Dairy Queen and decided to build another one, and with a manager put in it, and that wasn't successful for him, so he called me and went in to manage the store for him, and then bought it about 4 months later.
Now, I know a little bit about your background. You have an English degree from college, and that led you to a position with?
I worked for Federal Cartridge Corporation. This was back in the late 60s, early 70s, during the Vietnam conflict, and worked at the Twin City Army ammunition plant. My position there was a labor relations rep, and was involved with the problems and negotiations with 23 different unions on the site.
And then from that background, you found yourself managing a Dairy Queen, and no?
Then I left that job. The Vietnam War was ending, and I got a job as personnel manager in a die-cast manufacturing plant, and there was responsible for all facets of what they now call human resources, but at that time it was personnel. We had labor union, machinist union, to negotiate a contract with, as well as hiring and various employee-related meetings, safety, and so on.
And then from there,
I got involved in the food business with Dairy Queen. Now, well, I'm sorry. Actually, I became an insurance agent and tried that for about 6 months and didn't like it at all. So from there, it was a Dairy Queen business.
So how long have you been doing Dairy Queen?
Dairy Queen about 21 or 22 years. So.
That's a lot of ice cream cones. And so do you own the one down by Rochester first?
Byron, Minnesota, which is just east or west of Rochester, about 8 miles. Actually, it's hard to tell the difference between Rochester and Byron now.
And did you sell that and then come to Pelican Rapids?
I sold that and actually managed the store for the person who bought it from me for about 3 years until I found what I thought was a good situation for me, and which was in Pelican Rapids. I'd always wanted to live in Lakes Country, and it seemed like a good opportunity.
Now, why did you select a franchise versus just starting a business independently?
A franchise gives you a lot of help in terms of employee training, marketing. It sets up a system for you in other facets too. It also, nothing is a guarantee, but it also gives you some something positive in terms of business. You generally speaking, you're going to do X amount of business, and so there's a degree of certainty with a franchise.
What do you feel is a downside of having a franchise business?
You're limited in some of the things you can do in terms of building design and decor and those types of things. But also, sometimes the franchisor wants you to do things that you not necessarily can afford. And there are fees involved in being a franchisee. So all in all, it's still a good way to go. It guarantees you some degree of success.
How many employees do you have in Pelican?
Right now we're running about 16 employees. approximately half. Maybe 7 are full-time or adult, and as the summer approaches, we'll probably hire 4 or 5 more students. So we'll bring the student employment up to approximately 12. So we'll run about 20.
What is the most critical trait you look for when you're hiring or keeping a staff person?
Their desire to work, the way they handle themselves with customers, the way they handle themselves with other employees. In our business, teamwork is really, really important. I mean, it's probably the most critical characteristic that's needed, is that these people have to be willing to work together, see what the other person needs. If, for example, working at the drive-through, one person can take the order and somebody else should be there making it before, and have it made by the time the money is collected. But it does take a high degree of teamwork.
As you said, that profit is a little more certain when you have a franchise, simply because you'll do some business. But tell me about profit and what it means to you and what you do with profit in the Dairy Queen.
Well, I guess, profit is what we live off of. I guess, I draw a wage, but profit is the way you can improve your business in terms of improvement of the facility, equipment, other things to either make the business give a more favorable I don't know what the word I want to use, a more favorable appearance for the customer. Other things you do to make yourself more efficient. Those are the various things that profit must be used for. You don't take the profit and stick it in your back pocket. It's just not the way it works.
Do you know each year what you're going to make in the Dairy Queen business, or?
Not necessarily. There are some there, and this goes for any business you're involved in. There are unforeseen things that, and not only unforeseen, but things that are out of your control. The economy, for example. In my case, weather plays a big factor. Health can play a big factor. So those are all things that may affect whether I get a check or not.
What is it that drives you, Chuck? I mean, you obviously have an education and a lot of experience. You could go get a 40-hour-a-week job with a steady paycheck. Why do you pick to and choose to own your own business instead of that?
Because it's fun. The work sometimes is not fun, but there are psychological rewards in doing it. There's excitement in doing it. By watching the business grow, generates lots of positive feelings. So it's good. I wouldn't give it up for anything.